Strong winds, blinding snow, and whiteout conditions paralyzed the state during the blizzard of '96.
This is why I had kids.
The late Hartford mayor Mike Peters and his two sons spent hours digging out their driveway.
There, how's that though, huh? Pretty good?
Mayor Mike was proud that night of how the city's plow crews did.
The streets are not all that bad for the amount of snow that we had. And the crew being out there for like 24 hours now.
But this nor'easter was only one of many during an epic winter.
Oh, last year we had nothing. This year is like unbelievable.
The blizzard dumped 15 to 30 inches of snow, and the winter was relentless. 115 inches of snow fell in Windsor Locks, ranking it as the worst winter Connecticut residents have had to endure in the last 100 years. The levee I'm standing on is supposed to keep the Connecticut River in its banks, but in 1936 the river raged through and over these levees and into the city of Hartford. The flood of 1936 is our 9th storm. It's hard to think of what the Connecticut River would look like 21.5 feet above flood stage. Seeing the river to the top of the Bulkley Bridge begins to paint the picture. 1/5 of Hartford was flooded, from Bushnell Park to Asylum Street. The dikes that Samuel Colt built to protect his factory failed, flooding his compound and hundreds of homes in the South Meadows. The human suffering was enormous. Occurring during the Great Depression, the raging river left 14,000 homeless in Hartford. Thousands of WPA and Civilian Conservation Corps workers spent weeks cleaning up the mess. Millions of dollars were spent to construct stronger and taller dikes along the river to prevent a disaster like the one in 1936 from ever happening again. Hurricane-force wind gusts pounded the shoreline in one of the most powerful nor'easters in recent memory. A massive storm surge clobbered Connecticut beaches. One person drowned when the tide rose rapidly, while the Coast Guard rescued dozens of residents from the rising waters.
This is a heavy-duty storm. This is the biggest storm I've seen since I've lived here.
After the storm, many houses were condemned, while others were nowhere to be found. In the hills of Connecticut, the nor'easter had a much different look. Up to 30 inches of heavy, wet snow in Union and Woodstock plunged those towns into the dark as the weight of the snow toppled trees and power lines. Entire neighborhoods were destroyed by Hurricane Carol here in Old Lyme on August 31st, 1954. Hurricane Carol was the last major hurricane to hit Connecticut and is our 7th storm. Waves over 10 feet and winds of 100 miles per hour pounded these beach cottages in Old Lyme and washed away other homes in southeastern Connecticut. The relentless surf claimed the first floors of these homes in New London. Carol's storm surge was between 10 and 15 feet. Boats were carried inland along with pieces of homes. From 2x4s to roofs, nothing was immune to Carol's fury. In Westbrook, Linda Kinsella was just 12 years old, but she remembers the day well.
The water was just washing over the cottages, and you could see, oh, that porch is going to go. Wait, everybody come look, the porch is going to go. Then the porch went, and it wasn't just one porch, it was another porch. Several cottages were pushed way back. Some of them, I don't know what happened to them, but they just disappeared.
No storm since has rivaled Carol's strength, making it the last of only 2 Category 3 hurricanes to hit Connecticut in the last century.
Live from WVIT, this is Connecticut News Tonight.
Devastation and at least one fatality attributed to storms that swept throughout Connecticut today, spawning tornadoes, hail, and torrential rains. Good evening, I'm Anthony Everett, live in Waterbury, one of the area's hardest hit by a vicious storm that swept throughout Connecticut today.
Waterbury wasn't alone. To the north, the storm destroyed parts of Bantam. This slate roof in the village was no match for the powerful winds.
Came off the roof and it drove right into the tree there.
The tornado moved south, killing 1 and injuring 70 in Watertown and Waterbury. Governor O'Neill toured the state and described what he saw.
Well, you can see, as when we flew over, as I said, you can see where the trees are laying down, coming from the north, right above here, and crossing this road, crossing the lake, down through Watertown, down through Waterbury, and down to Hamden.
Hamden bore the brunt of this deadly tornado.
And all of a sudden, the window blew in the baby's room, and the door shut, and I couldn't get in the baby's room to grab the baby.
Winds of over 200 miles per hour destroyed or damaged 400 homes in Hampden and New Haven by one of the strongest tornadoes to ever hit New England. The fifth storm on our countdown is another tornado. Parts of Pequannock and Windsor Locks were decimated by the 1979 storm. One man recalls his harrowing experience that afternoon right here on Route 75.
My car started moving back and forth, and at one point all the windows in my car blew in completely and debris was flying through, and my car started spinning around in circles.
Smashed planes, ripped apart homes. The sixth costliest tornado to ever hit the U.S. did hundreds of millions of dollars in damage at Bradley Field, the Air National Guard base, and surrounding neighborhoods. The rare October tornado moved in an unusual direction, from south to north, touching down in Windsor, moving into Windsor Locks across the northern part of the airport, and eventually into Suffield, where it dissipated. The storm killed 3, injured 500, and did $450 million in damage in today's dollars.
Good afternoon again. It's 1:01, and we are awaiting the arrival of Hurricane Gloria.
Hurricane Gloria hit on September 27, 1985. The storm struck at low tide to the relief of shoreline residents, but it was the wind that left its mark on the state.
The wind is just incredible.
I see where Bridgeport had a wind of about 85 miles per hour when the center was there.
Gloria toppled trees and left many in the dark.
Looks like over 200,000 people are without power.
By the end of the storm, Northeast Utilities had a record 500,000 customers without power, some of whom waited almost 2 weeks to get electricity back. 6 people died in the storm.